Don't blink, it's your boy Ink. Welcome to the show. You guys are doing well because I'm having a wonderful day. This is kind of like a special video to do. So this video wasn't really planned. This video is about Dragon Ball, right? And you know what? I have a surprise for you guys. It is another video on Future Trunks. Now, I know what you're saying. Ink, you already used this Funko Pop. You already did a video on this Funko Pop. And the reality is not the Funko Pop. This is not the, we're doing a video on Future Trunks, but it's not a Funko Pop reaction. So, it'll be very similar, but at the same time, not really similar. So, I know this doesn't make any sense, so I guess we should start with the video in itself. That way you guys can understand and you guys can realize what I'm trying to do. So I had a talk with somebody yesterday, and okay, so the girl, she's really cute, single, so you kind of get what I'm going. And we were both born in the 90s. I'm older than her, but by a couple of years only. And weirdly, she's into anime. And the weirdest thing is, I went to high school with that girl, and she made fun of me. She made fun of a couple people for being nerds. But then nowadays she really does enjoy anime. And we were talking about anime yesterday, and we talked for an hour and a half. And it's like, you're into anime, is cool. Yeah, she told me, word for word, she's like, oh, you know a lot about anime, but it's like you don't pay homage to where you grew up. And I'm like, what did you mean? And she's like, well, we were born in like the same era. And you didn't talk about the anime that we grew up with. So I'm like, okay, well, what anime that we grew up with? Because the truth is, I was really into anime as a kid. And that's my reality. I was really into anime as a kid. However, before 18 years old, I wouldn't speak English. And most of the anime were presented in English. I was really into Yu-Gi-Oh! Because it was in French. But what I call Yu-Gi-Oh! Is more of an anime than it's an anime for sure. But would I more so talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! The anime, or more so Yu-Gi-Oh! The game? And in my case, it is more so Yu-Gi-Oh! The game. Pokemon was also an anime, but it's kind of crazy because Pokemon was quote unquote my first anime. Because quote unquote Pokemon was my first anime. To me, it was a cartoon. It didn't feel like an anime, it felt like a cartoon. My real first anime was Dragon Ball. But then again, I was listening to Dragon Ball in English, and I didn't speak a lick of English. I remember being downstairs in my father's house and listening to Dragon Ball in English and just working out. I was 7, maybe 8, so push-ups, very small weights. Yeah, it was a good time. And she was like, "Don't you care about like the importance of the anime that the anime had when we were younger?" And I wasn't sure what she meant. Okay, and yesterday we did Metaphor Re Fantasio. We did 12 hours, and I drank a little bit. Completely honest, I did drink. So then she's like, "Dude, we were born with the big tree," which was again Naruto, One Piece, and Bleach. And I realized that I've mentioned those a lot. I did mention Bleach. I did mention Naruto a lot, but then I have to admit that if you look at those three, we're inspired by Dragon Ball, then I barely talk about Dragon Ball. And the reason is, for me, the Dragon Ball anime, even as a kid, was phenomenal. But even as a kid, I had a problem with Dragon Ball because Dragon Ball was filler episode of just charging. And I think subconsciously speaking, it's gonna be a long video, by the way, so please sit down, grab a drink. It's gonna be a long video. I think subconsciously speaking, right? I think Dragon Ball only had an effect on me as a kid because I was reading the manga in French. I was only speaking French. So, to me, the anime of Dragon Ball never really happened. And when it comes to Bleach, the anime was super important. When it comes to One Piece, the anime is super important. I am reviewing One Piece. I'm 31 years old, you know? But she's right. At the same time, she's right. And Dragon Ball, and I was like, okay, well, it would be cool for the channel if I did a Dragon Ball video because Dragon Ball had such an impact. Even if it's not for me, Dragon Ball has such an impact on okay. Dragon Ball has such an impact in my life as a teen. Dragon Ball has such an impact in my life. As a teen, I read the manga once, and I think I took Dragon Ball for granted. I think this video is more so about me feeling guilty. Yeah. Because, like I said, I told you guys multiple times before. I went to the apartment, I didn't have cash, so I started reading manga. The first manga that I read was Naruto, then I read Bleach. I was like, okay, what are we reading first? What are we reading next? I read Death Note, and I was like, oh yeah, Dragon Ball was kind of good, when I was a kid. And I read Dragon Ball, but Dragon Ball never had the space that it should have had in my heart. And that's only technically true. Only technically. So when I grew up, I of course grew up, one of the first games that I remember playing on PS2. We're taking our Nintendo 64 that I played for so long at my father's house because I had this and then the PS3. Let's get PS2. PS2, one of the first games that I remember playing is Budokai Tenkaichi 2. The game where you had like pieces, like a table game. A billboard, I guess? Not a billboard. You know exactly what I mean. And Budokai was great, but it was nothing compared to Dragon Ball Tenkaichi 3. Which is one of the best games I've ever played. And one of the best games that I've ever played because you were able to take bad guys, and level them up. It was an RPG. But once again, it was the gameplay. I didn't really care about the story of Dragon Ball. See, my problem with Dragon Ball is, when you think about the story, right? I played Dragon Ball Budokai. I think Budokai Tenkaichi 1, 2. I played the 3. I played Dragon Ball Budokai Tenkaichi 1, 2, and 3. So it was always the same story being told and being told and being told and being told. And I think I came in with a bit of... I started despising Dragon Ball a little bit. And again, complete transparency. I think Dragon Ball is a great anime. But if you give me a game every single year that I buy, that I spend money on, is the same story, I'm going to be pissed. Which you should be. But then again, as an adult, and yesterday talking with a girl, made me realize, yo, Dragon Ball did a lot for the, Dragon Ball did a lot for culture. And then, I was looking at my own videos, and I realized that I barely talk about Dragon Ball. The biggest videos I made, the longest video, the video I talk about with Dragon Ball the most, was when Akira Toriyama was dead. Now, him being dead is a sad thing because he did a lot for the story, for manga. He did a lot for manga in the west of the world. He did a lot for manga worldwide, and he inspired a lot of people. When he's dead, a lot of manga that you adore as came out and say, yo, you teach me a lot, you motivated me, you inspired me to become a mangaka. And I think, I'm gonna be completely honest. Is Dragon Ball my favorite manga? No. Is it my favorite anime? No. Is it in my top 5? No. Am I grateful that I had Dragon Ball as a kid? Absolutely. Absolutely. But even then, as a kid, I spent how many years watching the show not understanding shit? You understand? So, a lot of people say, oh, you speak so well in English, how do you do? Well, because of shows like Dragon Balls, I was watching English show as a kid. And I didn't understand it, but I understood how you spoke, right? And she was like, I saw a video, and I told the girl, say, yeah, you're right, I should do a video on Dragon Ball, but I don't know where to start. And she was like, who was your favorite character? And then my favorite characters, I said top 5. I said Gohan. I said Piccolo. I said, I don't even remember what I said, but I said top 5. And my favorite character, my whole time favorite character, that we don't mention, is Future Trunks. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna end the video here. I'm gonna make a part 2 of this video, which is gonna be Future Trunks. I'm gonna make a part 2, which is Piccolo, and I'm gonna make a part 3, which is Vegeta. That's pretty much it. Anyway, love you guys. Take it easy. Peace.